Hello all you beautiful people out there, what is going on? This is your friend Britik coming at you fast with another video, and today we are going to be looking at some of the first OverPrime gameplay footage. I've had the luxury and the opportunity and the privilege to play this game early on stream with some fellow streamers and other people from the Paragon community. There was a lot of friendly faces there. If you guys missed that, sorry, but good news for you is there's going to be more streams in the future, especially March 18th in a couple days from today, when the game is going to be playable for everybody. I will, of course, be streaming it as often as possible. My whole stream schedule is just kind of crazy right now, this whole coronavirus thing. So I'm trying to figure out a new one as we go. But you guys can definitely tune in to my Twitch channel to see even more gameplay when I'm not uploading YouTube videos, giving my honest first thoughts and impressions. So all those links are in the description below. Of course, more importantly, how do you guys play? Well, there's going to be a link in the description, also a pinned comment in the comment section below, linking to the Discord channel of Team Soul Leave, the creators of OverPrime. And there, they will have a channel where the download link will be posted. You go, you download it, it's going to be a zip file, you extract it, and then you'll be able to play it. So, it's going to be their own kind of client. It's not going to be through Steam or anything like that. It's going to be through their Discord channel. So make sure you guys have Discord, and then click the link below and ask questions there if you have any more questions about it. But a playable version should be playable on March 18th, as they have stated. They haven't delayed it just yet. They kept the announcement the same. And by playable version, don't expect the full game. It's going to be more like an alpha beta-ish type thing, because there's still plenty of bugs, as I will talk about in a second. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, I'm gonna take my time with this honest review, because I didn't write up any sort of script. I didn't write up any sort of bullet points. I'm going off of my initial impressions. I've sat on it for a couple of days, really gathered my thoughts, and I wanted to talk about it first and foremost on an objective level, and then I will give you guys my opinion on a couple of things, just to make things as unbiased as I possibly can, because that's what's most important to me, is always being honest to you guys, because you guys deserve it. So first and foremost, let's just talk about the game itself. Yes, it looks beautiful. It is the best looking Paragon remake out there right now. Okay, it is better than predecessor, it is better than Fault, it is better than Core, if that thing is still around. Okay, it is better than them all, and I will go on record saying that at this point in time, this game looks better than the others. This map, this version of Legacy, was actually created from the ground up. So they looked at the old Legacy and then they rebuilt it from scratch on their own. So kudos to the team that did that, because this is just incredible work. It's fantastic, and the first time I ran through this on stream, it gave me chills. Honest to God, chills, looking around, looking up at the towers, looking at the jungle canopy. It was just incredible, and chat was going wild as well. So obviously, we're not going to beat around the bush here. It looks fantastic. But more importantly than looks is gameplay, of course. And that has always been a staple when it comes to my reviews of games on and off the screen. So what I want to talk about is, how did the game feel? Because I know that's super important. That's super important to a lot of people. And to be honest, it felt really good. It felt really good. When I used an ability, the ability went off. When I hit something, I could feel the impact of my axe swinging as Chimera hitting a jungle minion. I could feel my Dark Tide from Countess consuming the life force of my enemy as I get the kill. It felt good. It felt like I was into the action. And there was also some other elements that added to that, like screen shaking, for example, which I will talk about here in a second, that really added to that gameplay feel and atmosphere. And it felt really, really good. The HUD is really clean. The item shop is going to be changing, of course, as with any MOBA. No initial item shop remains the same, but the item system is just like League of Legends, basically. You have smaller items that you build up to form one large item at the end. However, it does use a point system. It does not use a gold system. So if you guys remember the point system from Legacy Paragon, same thing over here. There is a point system, as you guys might notice in the gameplay, where on the right side of my health and mana bar, there is a blue circle that's going to give you the points. On the left circle, there's the XP where it shows your level. So you use those points and you bank those in to get items. And when you sell those items, you get a 100% refund. So you could just trade in and out with those items. Everything here is subject to change, of course. This is just super early gameplay. And some of this is already going to be changed by the time the 18th rolls around, which I will talk about here soon. So, game feels great. Game looks great. It's the best and most developed of the Paragon remakes at this point. And that is just me being 100% honest and objective with you guys. That is not a slight to any of the other developers. It is simply an observation. They also have a lot of heroes. I believe, I forget the exact number of heroes, but they do have a double-digit amount of heroes. I think they have about 20 from what I could recall. I'm sorry if I don't get the number correct right off the bat. And they're going to be adding more heroes as the game continues to grow. Obviously, they're going to bring back all the Paragon heroes. That is their goal. And a lot of the hero kits were reworked as well. For example, Chimera's kit that I played on stream, his leap ability, his ambush, was no longer lock-on. It was actually a free aim kind of thing, just like Greystone's leap, just like Greystone's Assault the Gates, which was very interesting. Another difference about Chimera was that his ultimate was also no longer a lock-on. It was simply a cone, and everybody who was caught in the cone would get stunned. So Chimera actually felt really strong in this version compared to his other versions in other Paragon games. It feels really weird to say that. However, he was still felt a little underwhelming compared to a lot of the other characters. The quote-unquote meta, I hate to use that word right now, but the gameplay was really fast. It was really bursty. Very CC heavy. I didn't see a reason to build tanky in a lot of these situations. I didn't. And maybe that's just because I wasn't playing super tanky characters. For example, Kwong in this game is built more to function like a caster than he is as a frontliner because of how his abilities have reworked a little bit. Sevarog, I know, can still be super tanky. I just haven't played Sevarog. But from what I noticed, the heroes that did the best were the heroes that were focused around doing a ton of damage. You're watching Countess gameplay right now. You're seeing a ridiculous amount of damage come out of my face when I chomp on the necks of my enemies. It is just ridiculous. So it is very damage heavy. It's very fast paced. Fast travels in the game. There's also boots in the game and stuff like that. There are river buffs. So there's a gold buff next to the mid lane. And then the Raptor buff, which is where Black buff used to be on Legacy for all you Legacy heads, if you can remember that. What that does is when you kill it, it gives your entire team a buff that gives you 500 shield across the board. And that lasts about 100 seconds, I believe, is what I was told. So it's a really big team-wide buff that can help you win team fights and push objectives. Now, that's just an overview of the game itself. That was just me stating it objectively. Now, let's talk about my personal gripes, my personal things that I liked, things that I did not like about the game, and that kind of stuff. Now, what I did like was that the animations felt really good. The abilities felt really good. When I use an ability, I felt it. It felt visceral. It felt like I was in the action. Really good stuff. What I didn't quite like was the screen shaking. Okay, there was a lot of screen shaking. Okay, when you get into these team fights and you have all these abilities going around and you're getting pulled by Faye's ultimate and then you're getting slowed and you're getting sucked in by Gideon's ultimate, it's just earthquake times earthquake to the power of earthquake. It's just a lot. And they've actually already addressed this. I was already told that by the time March 18th rolls around, there's going to be an option to turn off the screen shake as a short-term fix while they analyze how much should be in the game and how much should not be in the game. But be careful, because you might get a seizure if you play this game for too long with that much screen shaking. It is ridiculous. And I'm glad that they're at least letting us turn it off inside the game, right? Turn it off. But it's just going to be a useful little thing to have while they figure out that whole screen shaking nonsense, because it's crazy. It's crazy amounts. Another thing that I just didn't really like too much is just everything going on at the screen at the same time. I like the HUD. Don't get me wrong. The HUD is nice. I like it. I think it's clean. I'm talking more about the alerts on screen. I'm talking more about all the particle effects, which I understand you can tune down. You can tune down the graphics. You can tune all that stuff down. It just seemed, if you're trying to play this at the highest settings, which I was trying to do to demonstrate the game for stream, it just seems very overwhelming, very distracting. And there was a couple other things, like the font in the item shop seemed a little too small, and the map and the icons on the map seemed a little too small as well in contrast. Okay, so what I mean by that is maybe standalone, if the effects weren't so overbearing, the font and the map and everything would seem normal. But in contrast to everything being so big and crazy and grand and screen shaking and all that, it's really hard to pay attention to the map. And someone who has a terrible attention span like me, like the typical Paragon player, it's just not comfortable. It's not convenient. It's not user-friendly. There we go. That's the word I'm using for. And this game will take you a couple games to understand. You will have to read through the items, which is nice. In the menu, you can just sit there and read the items, which is really, really nice of them. However, it does seem to be a little user manual training intensive, so to speak, where you have to do a little bit of research ahead of time before jumping in, because it can be a little overwhelming. And that's another little thing that I have an issue with, is that maybe their onboarding can be a bit better. But that will come much later, I'd say, once they're past the whole alpha beta stages of the game. What I will say, however, is that team fights were fun. There was a lot of stuff going on. It was kind of crazy. You would rotate over and fight, and it would be a good time. However, because of the pace of the game, it seemed like it was very, very deathball-y, very, very rotation heavy, and it felt like a lot of team deathmatch going on. And I know some people really like that about Paragon back in the Legacy days. They liked that it wasn't as MOBA-y as other MOBAs. They liked that it was more deathball-y. And at the end of the day, that's what Paragon initially was. It was an action MOBA. That's how they actually announced it. That's how they advertised it. And so when there's more team fights, that can go either way. I'm just simply not used to it. I'm more used to, you know, slower, traditional MOBA kind of action, more farming, stuff like that, because it seems like getting jungle minion kills, getting kills, just kind of puts you up much higher than just farming in the lane. At least that was my initial impression. I could be totally wrong. I've only played 3 games, so I can't give you guys... This is honestly a first impressions, right? So there's still a lot to discover. I'm not even talking about the items in the item shop, because I haven't looked at them all. I know there's this one item that was pretty awesome. It's like some sort of feather item, where it gives you a bunch of health, it gives you some other stats, and then its active is that for 2 seconds, you take 0 ability damage, and you also can't be CC'd. So, that is a crazy item, because, you know, you're in the middle of a Gideon ult, you're in the middle of a Faye ult, just hit that active real quick, and you take 0 damage from 2 ultimates. It can be kind of crazy, so the balance will come later as well. That's why I'm not getting into the items too much right now. I like how the game felt, I like how the game looks, but what I don't like is the peer-to-peer connectivity. And what I mean by that is that currently, as it stands right now, they are not using servers to run their games. What that means is that you have to have a host. Someone from your friend group or someone on the other team has to host the game using their IP address, and then everybody joins off of that IP address to play the game. And if that host disconnects, if that host crashes, the whole game crashes. There is no host migration currently in place. And of course, this is bad for the long term. This game will not succeed if it's going to be peer-to-peer for too long. And I'm going to say that right now. Peer-to-peer is very inconvenient. It's not plug and play. It's very annoying, and it's not safe. People don't want to be giving out their IP addresses. I know that nobody in this community would do anything bad with somebody else's IP address. Of course. But it just seems like a very inconvenient way of playing games. And I hope they work around this. And I hope, my biggest fear is that they have to remake their entire systems to fit around servers, just like Predecessor had to when their first closed alpha thing launched. We all saw how that went. It was pretty bad. This one was way better. This one was a million times better. This was the best launch, or the best event. Sorry, we haven't gotten to the launch yet. We haven't gotten to 18th yet. But this was a really good event. It was well set up. The game functioned well. There were some issues when our host disconnected. The whole game would crash. That did happen a couple of times. But overall, as for gameplay, It feels good. It feels good. And that's the most important part, is that it feels good. Does it feel like Paragon, though? That's a harder question to answer, and I'm going to need some more time on the game to answer that question. But it looks great. It plays great. And that's really all you need at the end of the day. There are some of the bugs. You can get stuck in terrain. There are some funny issues with some abilities. For example, Rampage Rock can go 7,000 feet into the air, 0 gravity. Pretty funny and stuff like that. But overall, those are my first initial impressions. But yeah, that's a super big no-no, is peer-to-peer connectivity. Super big no-no. Peer-to-peer connectivity. Super duper big. Like, we don't want that. We don't want that stuff. No way. No way, Jose. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first honest opinions video, first honest impressions. I know it was a little long, but there was a lot to get off there. I really wanted to try and just throw out everything that was in my brain about this game for you guys while you guys enjoyed some gameplay. I hope you didn't mind the extra minutes on this video. And if you did enjoy, please drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you guys in my Twitch streams for some more gameplay in the future. As always, make sure you have a wonderful day. Peace. I have a word in here.
Oh, here it comes.
I'm the fade now.
Wow. Yo, Grim?
What's happening, dude?
What the fuck just happened?